What's going on, FPL managers? Welcome to the deadline stream for Game Week 26. We're half an hour away for Game Week 26 starting, and I thought I was going to be so calm after acting my wild card and it all being really easy. But Zoff, I've just been told that Sam Maximan's out for 2 to 3 weeks, so I've got panic again. What am I doing? Oh, it's nice to have you joining us on the deadline stream, by the way. Zoff, how are you feeling ahead of Game Week 26?
Doing great, Ted. It's always a pleasure to be around FPL royalty such as yourself.
Don't
Thank
say
you for
that.
having me on.
It's
No, you're a
pleasure,
TV
mate.
celebrity, Ted. Now we have to.
The token 2 times I've been on. No, you've got to help me with de-stressing for this stream because, as I said, Sam Maximan's been. He said he's out for 2 to 3 weeks. He was a staple on my wild card. I've just changed my moves, so all the graphics you'll see on this video are actually slightly out of date because I was told like 10 minutes before, so really annoying. But I have had a very stressful week off. It seems like I have changed my strategy and my moves every single day. Like double Burnley on the Monday, activated triple captain on the Tuesday, Jota got injured on the Wednesday. It sounds like that Craig. That sounds like that Craig David song, doesn't it? Yeah, took a -8 on Thursday and wildcard Friday. Love it. Oh my
The whole
days.
spectrum, the whole FPL spectrum in 1 week.
Oh god. Anyway, so are you pretty set up for Game Week 26? Let's have a look at your team. I'll bring it up on
Could
screen.
you read it
here.
out? Yep.
Yeah, I'll read it out. You've got Ramsdale in goal in the double game week. Dino against Watford. Cancelo against Spurs. Alexander-Arnold in the double against Norwich and Leeds. Salah, triple captain against Norwich and Leeds. We couldn't afford a white captain graphic, sorry. Bowen against Newcastle. Fernandes against Leeds. These are all the single game week players I'm fearing on wildcard this week, by the way. Saka against Brentford and Wolves, Jimenez against Leicester and Arsenal, and Dennis and King, both against Aston Villa and Crystal Palace. You know, the advantage of a wild card is you can get rid of those guys, but guaranteed they're going to do well this week. How are you feeling about it?
So. Doing good. There's been a lot of thoughts actually flowing through, and honestly, I need more time to digest information than the average person. So I don't think that there's really a clear answer on where to go, how to go. FPL is a very different game this year than what we see every year. And there's no real right or wrong solution, right? It's very team dependent. And nobody can say right now or even at the end of 31, 32, oh, this was the right thing and this is how it should have been played. We don't necessarily know that, right? It's not necessarily because a lot of wildcard teams I've seen now, they're without the likes of Bowen, Cancelo. Those guys could easily outscore double game week players over these next 2 to the game weeks. We don't know that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's part of the reason why I'm a little bit fearful. You know, Fernandes against Leeds on paper is an absolutely fantastic fixture. Bowen against Newcastle, exactly the same. And who knows what's going to happen in that City versus Spurs. You know, you'd back City to win every day of the week, but you don't know whether Spurs are going to score or not. I guess that's the dynamic of a bigger game in a single game week. It is slightly more unpredictable than getting a couple of easy fixtures in a double game week. So who knows what could happen? It could be a big swing either way. There's a lot of different strategies in the community at the moment. A lot of people wildcarding late. A lot of people chilling and just making transfers. Triple captain Salah. I can't believe I'm not triple captaining Salah. I've got massive FOMO at the moment. Oh dear. Anyway, no.
Just let my dog in. 1 second.
Go for it. Yeah, no, I like your team actually. I mean, you're always super calm about FPL and counselling restraint. So presumably you're not taking any hits. What are the moves you've made?
There is a hit. There is a hit in there, in fact, finally. And I think if I didn't take a hit this week, I'd probably get unfollowed by a lot of people on Twitter. You see -8s, -16s, and even wildcards being thrown about the place. So I think a hit is pretty much par for the course. I've gone Ronaldo and Jota out for Jimenez and Salah.
Nice. I think there's very sensible transfers. Are you expecting too much from Dennis and King? Is there a slight, there's a chance, isn't there?
I think a lot will depend on what I see. Now, the thing is, with doing those moves, I've effectively kept every strategy open. Now I have effectively 10 players available in 27. They're not the 10 players I necessarily want. I don't have any City, I don't have any Spurs, etc. So I might still free hit in 27. That being said, I can field 10 players with Jimenez in there also. So maybe I do a free transfer, field 11, save the free hit for later. Or I could even wildcard in 28, so do something like Salah to Son, get to take some punts into like for Burnley players, etc. in 27. So I've kept all my options open. And what I basically, what I think the advantages of a 28 wildcard later on is more information. You know, the FA Cup results, you know, whether the Chelsea Arsenal fixture might drop into 28. So it's just basically just bought myself a bit more time. And what I really missed out, I think, is on an additional Liverpool player, an additional Wolves defender, an additional Arsenal player. That's probably the three things I'm missing compared to most
Yeah.
wildcarders, but not much else.
There's definitely the advantages there for a little bit more time. Things change quickly in FPL. People forget that we're planning for 4 to 5 game weeks time, and we all just threw out our chip strategies just from one notification from the Premier League on Friday. So things change very quickly, and I do admire your restraint. I think the only disadvantage about wildcarding 28 is that you're going to have to take hits this week, maybe -4, -8, and you don't get to bench boost in the optimal game week. Bear with us in the chat. We will answer your questions once I get through my wildcard team. Simon Ashby was asking, is there one game you are anxious about now that you're wildcarding? I think probably that Man United game against Leeds. I think there could be holes for Ronaldo and Fernandes in that game, with Leeds being so leaky. That's probably the one I would say. And some people asking me why I'm not triple captaining. Well, I activated the wild card on the news of the double game week announcement. So let's move to my team. So as I said at the start of the stream, Sam Maximan is apparently, according to a Newcastle journalist, out for 2 to 3 weeks, and he's sitting on the bench at the moment. So I think I'm going to have to rejig this. Now, what you said, Zoff, about wildcarding 28 or wildcarding in 26, I think those are the two options that people really have to navigate game week 28 and 29. So,
or free transfers. There's not necessarily, there's a lot of ways to play it. You could free hit in 28, 29. There's absolutely no right or wrong way, and it's completely team dependent.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree with that. I think if you can free transfer and sort of get away with this whole stretch, then great. But I think you probably won't be optimizing the full extent of the consecutive double game weeks.
It depends on what you define as optimization. Like, let's say, like, the next few weeks, I ran my team through that FPL.team website. So into the next few weeks now, I can get the likes of Coutinho, Rafinha, but then I'd probably still have to play like the likes of Cancelo a few weeks, Bowen a few weeks. These are not bad plays. Bowen against Villa is not necessarily a worse play than Saka that week, for example.
Yeah,
it's only optimal in terms of what you see on paper.
Yeah, it's really, really sage advice, actually, because we do get caught up on the double game weeks. We do go for all of these players that have 2 fixtures and forget about the staple FPL assets like Cancelo, like Bowen, that we've relied upon in the recent weeks that only have single fixtures, but like Sterling against Norwich, can easily score hat-tricks or braces or huge double-figure hauls in just that one game week. So you're absolutely right. There's plenty of ways to skin a cat, and I think multiple ways to play the game. So I think if you wanted to be restrained, it's actually not a bad idea, and save your chips for later on in the season. I just felt like with all of these double game weeks in a row involving the same sort of players who also happen to play in game week 30, it was rude not to sort of combo my chips together.
Correct. Ultimately, again, team dependent.
Completely agree with that. Completely agree. So yeah, let's talk about my team. I think wildcarding, I can get 10 double game week players this week, 8 in 28, 8 in 29, and 10 or 11 in game week 30. So pretty set up, but it does involve triple Arsenal, triple Liverpool, triple Wolves, one of Spurs, Leeds, a couple from Villa. Those sort of players. So I'm pretty happy with it. I can't obviously triple captain Salah. I'll have to triple captain him in 29 against Brighton and Arsenal, I think it is, both away games. So it is a bit of a compromise, but the downside from Norwich and Leeds probably isn't as much as people think it might be. Obviously, Salah could explode and get a hat-trick in both games, and that would be absolute disaster. But I'd only lose out on the extra bit because I'm still going to captain him. So let's transition to the plan for 28 and 29. This is what my wildcard can actually bring. So as I said, sort of 8 double game week players in 28, 8 in 29. And this is why wildcarding now is a benefit, because the bench boost in 28 is a significantly better bench boost than in 29. So you can see on my bench, you've got Ramsdale, Saka and Gabriel against Watford. As a single game week, you can't get much better than that, I'd say. And obviously you're bench boosting Robertson as well. And in 29, conversely, you've got the Wolves boys against Everton, which isn't as good a prospect, and Dino against West Ham. So it's not quite as good. I think there's also a prospect of the Arsenal-Chelsea game being added late to game week 28. So that would also give your bench boost an added boost. And basically, you would be bench boosting your Liverpool players against West Ham. So, I mean, that's pretty tasty, I'd say. The big spanner in the works for me, Zoff, is that Saint-Maximin is now out, apparently, for 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm going to have to rejig this team a little bit. And the fix that I've put in, let me just go back to my team for 26, is Saint-Maximin out for Lacazette. Lacazette comes in. Gabriel comes out for Cody. And Sarr moves to Dubravka. And I think that's probably an okay fix. It gives me the same sort of players in each game week. And I'm fairly happy with that. So do you rate it? Do you not rate it? Or are you just, yeah.
No, it looks good on paper. There's honestly not much I can pick apart. I like that you've gone for Gabriel over Tierney. I think he's more secure for minutes.
Yeah, but
because you have this.
I'm going to have to transfer him out now,
a little bit congested. Oh, I couldn't really keep track of all the changes you said. I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm a bit out of place myself. But the team in general, what I see up on screen now, in the one with the same max thing, the core is pretty good. It's pretty much what I would go with.
Nice one.
If I was wildcarding.
Nice. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. I think quite a lot of wildcards this week will have similar teams. The plan is free hit in 27. So if you're not planning to free hit in 27, your wildcard might look slightly different. But yeah, I think there's huge upside in 27. And then, yeah, as we've said, these guys have eight doubles in 28, 8 doubles in 29. So feeling pretty happy. Let's move to your questions in the chat. Rather than being self-indulgent with our teams. We've got a super chat from Christopher. Hey guys, on wildcard, not sure who to pair up with Sarr. Can't have Ramsdale as 3 other Arsenal assets. Also not sure about Van Dijk or Robertson. What do you think about that, Zoff?
You're the wildcard expert, Ted. Why don't you go ahead?
So I think Dubravka is a good pairing with Sarr. They both double in 28. So if you're going to bench boost then, that is not a bad option. Also, Dubravka has a double in 29, so you can play Sarr this week and then bench boost in 28 and then Dubravka in 29. That's probably the best option. I think Robertson plays, and long term he's the better pick for me, so I would go Robertson, but I can't deny that there is that Tsimikas rotation threat for maybe the second of this double, so it's just hedging your bets, really, whether you want the upside or whether you want the security of minutes. I would personally go Robertson. Would you agree with that, Zoff?
Yes. Now, see, the thing with Robertson, right, there is a possibility he might miss today, but especially if you're wildcarding, now this is your team pretty much the core of it for the rest of the season. So ultimately, the Robbo might miss today in that case, but ultimately, defense is not an area where you want to be spending your transfers, and Robertson is a perfectly good hold now till the end of the season. So I wouldn't worry about him missing out 1 week and get Van Dijk instead. I'd definitely get Robbo.
Yeah, I agree with that. Even if he does miss out the second fixture, I think long term he's a better alternative to Jota. It's going to be difficult to get Jota back in.
That's the only thing. If possibly you have an injury now to one of the front 3, you're going to be scrambling to get Jota in because you're set in stone with the 3 Liverpool players. That's the obvious caveat.
Yeah, exactly. So, Nuclear Atoms asking, now that Sam Maximan is out, which striker to bring in for game week 28? I think the main ones will be Lacazette, Breuer, and Jimenez. But you could also go Kane instead of Son, and then have a cheaper midfield with the likes of Rafinha, Coutinho, even a James Ward-Prowse is a decent shout because Southampton have a double in 28 and potentially play in 30. Anyone else that you would suggest in the forward line for this week and onwards, Zoff?
It has to be Jimenez, right? Because he's looking at double game week 28 specifically, and Jimenez has Palace and Watford that week.
Yeah, I really like Jimenez. I think I'm not just saying that because he's a bandwagon for with 2 double game weeks. I was an advocate at the start of last week. His stats are on the rise. He's got 2 goals in his last 3 appearances, highest goal involvement for Wolves. Even though Wolves aren't a high scoring side, he's going to be involved when they do score. And Leicester are pretty vulnerable defensively, the highest expected goals conceded. So I like Jimenez. I would, before having to move Sam Maximan up to Lacazette, I would have opted for double Arsenal defence. So you don't have to go Lacazette if you don't want to.
The defense, Arsenal are definitely better in defense today. If you're wildcarding, then I'd probably definitely lean towards double Arsenal defense than Lacazette.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Question, guys: if you had to plan 2 of the following, if you had to play 2 of the following, who would it be? Edouard, King, and Dawson. So I think Dawson has a single game week against Watford, King the double against Villa and Palace, and Edouard the double against, is it Spurs and no, not Spurs. I've forgotten who Edouard's double is, but Edouard, King, or Dawson's off. Who would you pick? If you could pick one for this week.
Edouard, King, or Dawson?
Yeah.
Edouard.
I think I agree with that. I think King has really struggled. Edouard, I'm forgetting Edouard's double. I'm going to just bring up his
Chelsea-Watford.
Chelsea-Watford. So he does play Watford. That's a good fixture. God, it'd be nice to see Chelsea again because we haven't seen them in a long time in the Premier League, it seems.
Which team do you support then?
I'm a Liverpool fan, as you can tell by the accent. No,
I can't tell UK accent. No, wait, you have the most like non-Scouse accent I've heard.
I can do one for you if you want, mate.
Yeah, of course.
Stevie Gerrard. Love it. We're going to soundbite that. Zoff Scouse accent. I love it. Right, I've had another super chat from Varun. Thoughts on Lloris to Ramsdale and Jota to Saka, Bruno to Salah for a -8. Lloris to Ramsdale, Jota to Saka, Bruno to Salah. I mean, on paper, that seems sensible. A -8 is pretty steep. I'm not sure Zoff would ever consider a -8 in his life, right?
No, I was considering a -8 this week, in fact, and I probably would have gone with if I really wanted Lacazette. But in the double, the goalposts completely change. Especially and when you have consecutive doubles and stuff like that. I think you -8, -12. It's very team dependent.
It seems like that extra fixture that you'll get for bringing in a double game week player as opposed to a single game week player is almost subsidizing that hit to a certain extent. So you are increasing that floor and potentially that ceiling as well. So yeah, triple captain 26. Yeah, I think obviously Salah is a no-brainer. Tomiyasu to Tarkowski in 27 seems sensible. Avoid free hit in 27. Yeah, so you'd want as many Burnley players as possible. If you're going to have Salah, then you have to make do with one premium, I think. And wildcard in 28. I think that's a sound plan, to be honest. The only upside you would get while wildcarding this week is saving that -8 and the ability to bench boost in 28, which is the better double for me. But yeah, a good plan otherwise. G is asking Luis Diaz or Van Dijk. I think Luis Diaz is a bit of a rotation risk or short of minutes. Zoff, what do you think about Luis Diaz?
I mean, Luis Diaz becomes a major rotation risk once Jota especially is back, right? So it all depends if you're going to wildcard and if you like late rise. I know he's brought in Diaz this week, but he plans to wildcard for sure. in 28 and free hit in 27. So as a 1 week punt, I don't mind that because the fixtures are there for Liverpool. They have both the hat-trick fixtures this week. No
Yeah.
other team has a fixture where you can say both these games you could have players like they could score 10 goals and you wouldn't bat an eye over these two games. So getting another entry into that attack, I can totally get on board with that, but it's a very short-term move.
It is, and you wouldn't expect Diaz to play both games. I would suggest there is.
So that's what I was telling him. I would expect him to start one game, and I would be very surprised if he didn't start at least one game.
Interesting. Yeah, I suppose Mane maybe has suffered more fatigue than Salah at the African Cup of Nations, so maybe does get a rest in one of those games. There is talk that Diaz starts ahead of Mane. I think.
Yes.
Was it Live FPL posted about the Egyptian Federation or something, posting something about the Liverpool team?
But that's more about Salah. I think they're more specifically because all of Egypt is only interested in one thing, right? Is Salah going to play? They don't care if Tsimikas is going to be at left back.
Yeah, it's interesting. But they had a couple of key players bench, so interesting. Thoughts on Firmino over Lacazette for this week? Firmino's an interesting one, I suppose, but he does fall into the same categories we've just talked about. Not necessarily guaranteed minutes. Yeah.
And safe like this week, but then again, after 28, 29, you start wondering whether Firmino is going to get minutes. So in that sense, Lacazette is safer.
Yeah,
I like Lacazette for these double. I like him because all the 4 doubles are in home matches, and I think he performs much better at home.
I agree, and his stats are actually incredible. I didn't really appreciate how good they were, but the problem is even if a player has an incredible stats, they still have to convert them. But still, his form isn't that bad. Like he hasn't played that many matches because of Arsenal missing a few fixtures, but he's got 2 goals and 4 assists in his last 7 games. I mean, that's decent, and the stats to back them up. Super chat from Paul. Hey guys, would you start Digne or Edouard? I think Digne against Watford and Edouard, as we said, against Chelsea and Watford again. So I think probably Edouard has that upside if he plays both games.
Edouard.
Yeah. So Edouard. Another chat. Dubravka, Son, Lacazette, or Ramsdale, Rafinha, Kane on wildcard. I think I would probably go for the former. Son you can get cheaper than Kane. Lacazette is a better option than Rafinha because Rafinha has 2 different...
Has there been any Palace team leaks?
I really don't know. I don't know. Why?
But usually there are. Palace, in fact, team leaks are actually quite common.
Well, they haven't got the early fixture, do they? Is that irrelevant?
No, the news usually breaks quite early. I know Focal gets the news.
Interesting.
So but either way, right? It doesn't make a difference if he's benched in this one. He will probably start the next one anyway. So,
are you monitoring late team news, Zoph, on your Twitter and all this?
I have usually on a WhatsApp group with Baker and Datetriser. They usually put any team news in there. I'm checking that. Doesn't appear to be.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool. Goodness me, this is hectic. I actually need to just double check that I've locked in my transfers for the changes.
You're not one of those people who does the transfers and presses the wildcard button after, right?
No, I'm pretty sure I've activated my wildcard. I have. Yeah, so this is so annoying. I would really wanted Sarr ahead of Dubravka, but I'm going to have to get Lacazette instead of Sam Maximan. That's fine. It is what it is. Dubravka's not a bad shout. Cody ahead of Gabriel. Oh, I really wanted Gabriel as well. That's so annoying. Oh well, okay.
And when you're doing this all just because of Saint Max, don't you have anybody at a similar price bracket you could just go to? No. It seems like you're making 2 compromises for 2 or 3 compromises just because of one player being out. It doesn't seem right to me.
That's the problem with the wildcard is you have to sort of set up for the long term, and that's quite difficult. And that's the downside that we have because we're planning long term with the wildcard. Just because we know that there's going to be double game week players. I'm happy having Lacazette. I agree he's an excellent option. And I was going to have, fear of missing out this week. Cody ahead of Sarr. That's not the end of the world. And Dubravka's
but in terms of bonus and everything, I think Sarr is usually a step ahead of Cody. And the thing is, right, with Sarr, you're happier to keep him more long term.
Yeah.
In the weeks after, he's a good goalkeeper pick. But Cody is such a dull defender pick. It's not one you would want to play. So I think Salah is miles ahead of Cody in that aspect.
Oh my god, you're not helping. It's only like 5 minutes to go. Like I don't even know what.
I think what the options? What's your front line again? Instead of Saint Max, I think you can swing somebody in at a similar price, right?
Well, I mean, the forwards are quite limited at the moment, aren't
You can
they?
get one of the Watford. You can get one of the Watford duds.
No. What, King or Dennis? I've just got
Yeah.
rid of them. They're not coming back in my team. You just want to torture me, Zoff. It's unbelievable. Back to the chat. We have another super chat. Should I start Laporte over Emerson Royale? Laporte with the Tottenham fixture, and obviously Emerson Royale with the City and Burnley fixtures. It's a tough one.
All day Laporte for me.
Yeah, single game week fixture. Okay. I am already tripled up on Arsenal, doubled on Liverpool, have done a -4 for Josh Saka. Should I replace Royale with a Wolves defender? Completely depends on your chip strategy, but Spurs have a double game week in 29 as well, so you don't necessarily need to move away. Watkins or Cancelo? Watkins, I am almost, I'm not sure, but I would imagine that Watkins probably has dropped for Ings this week. What do you think? But he's been poor, and I wouldn't be surprised.
He's been poor.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
He's been poor, and they need goals. I think the goals have dried up a little bit over the last few weeks, and performance levels have also dropped for Villa for the last couple of weeks. They were very poor against Newcastle.
Yeah, I thought Newcastle were really good, actually. The problem is that I don't know. I think if they can't score goals with a striker, they have to play slightly differently. And I've been surprised how defensively frail they've been, because the first weeks under Gerrard, they were really solid. So it seems like they've slid backwards. Hopefully it's an anomaly, because most of us will have Digne, especially. Well, I mean, you can't expect them to concede against Watford, though, right?
I'm conflicted because I have both the Watford strikers.
4 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go. Oh, goodness, everyone's stressing. King and Pookie in for a -12. No. Why Pookie? Norwich don't double, do they? No, I don't think so. Breuer or King? Definitely Breuer. Breuer is a really good shout for the... Helen telling me to shush and sort my team. Oh, sort your team. Oh, I thought you were telling me not to sort my team. Okay, right. We just double check this. Okay.
Yeah, I would not want to be streaming right before a wildcard thing.
Yeah, on a last-minute wildcard change. Yeah, I think I'm happy with this off. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. I'm happy that I've got Lacazette.
Yeah, Lacazette's a good pick.
Can you imagine if I'd kept Sam Maximan in and it was, he was apparently out?
One player.
Yeah,
if it's one player, then just one transfer.
I think it has knock-on effects, though, because you could go Kane in that position and have like a Ward-Prowse in midfield.
Yeah, but it all depends again. Like something new might come up next week. You never know.
Yeah, agreed. It's
no big deal.
1 minute to go, guys. It's pretty stressful. Jones, you're going triple captain this week. Free hit and wild card left. I think triple captain is the obvious move. Not sure transfers to make this week. Thinking Jota's either Saka or Cornet. It depends on your transfer. If you're free hitting next week, I wouldn't bring in Cornet. If you're not, then if you are free hitting, I wouldn't. If you're not, then yeah, fine. And Robertson, I think, is a really good Liverpool double up. So yeah. Semedo or Saiss, I think they're both fairly decent. Saiss probably
Saiss better. Saiss is better. Let's not sit on the fence. Saiss is better for bonus and for goal threat. He's a superior option.
Oh, interesting, because Sonaldo is going Semedo because he thinks that he's a marginally better bonus option. So slightly disagreeing with you, Zoff. But I agree with you. I'd have Saiss. I do have Saiss, actually.
Because you're a Saissy beast.
It's 11 o'clock. The deadline is passed. Oh my God. Have I locked? Yes, I'm pretty sure I locked it in. Oh my goodness me. Why can't I do like just a calm deadline stream? Yeah, I've got the most calming presence with me as well. I think you're having a good influence on me, but it's not. It's not. it hasn't soothed me as
What
much as
have
I
you
thought.
done, Ted? Oh my God, that team is terrible.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh god. Right. I can't do anything about it now. It's all good. It's time to de-stress. I'm happy. I washed my hair this morning as well, so it can't go too crazy. Although it does look a bit stupid now, so oh well. I just want to hear your Scouse accent again, Zoff. Oh goodness me. So Cancelo, Digne, Bowen, and who was your other? Fernandez against Leeds. I'm really worrying those single game week players. But whenever you check either the points projection places like Scout or Hub or whoever, they always suggest that the double game week players have an advantage over the single game week players, even if they have a decent fixture. Is that just a modelling thing, or is it, is it not bringing in that context that we rely on as FPL managers?
It's just the models rely heavily on one factor, and that is minutes. Everything is usually a multiple of minutes. So it's only natural when the minutes are going to be projected to be double. The projections for those players are going to be higher, but projections don't always match up to results. The City guys are, for example, you see, are projected to score 3 to 4 points and all that stuff on defense, but they're going to score most likely 6 to 8 points if they keep a clean sheet. So the models are a good guide, but also what I've been telling, like, late riser, like another guys, my friends who are looking into wildcard, after 30, there's a season remaining after 31 to 38 as well.
Yeah.
Right, because and then you would want the likes of, like, maybe you'll want your Reece James, you'd have maybe want your United players and stuff like that. So anything can happen.
Absolutely. And I'm going to worry about after that game week 30, because I'm literally just going to, chip, wildcard, free hit, boost, bench boost, triple captain, or have one free hit to navigate post game week 30. And that's, I guess, the downside of this. But you could argue that the heavier double game weeks, but isolated, they'll be split apart, 33 and 36, are maybe more easy to navigate. And that's what I'm hoping for. Maybe a few hits can sort out 1 week, and then free hit in 36 actually might not be a bad option. So how are you going to plan to bench boost off? What is your intention? Are you going to do it in 29, or are you going to wait until later on?
I haven't really put much thought into it, but it will probably be later on. And I don't mind it just being, maybe if I have one player out also around 34, 35 single players, I'm open to that. But the bench boost will not define my overall strategy, because I think the chip is a bit overrated in terms of what it does. If I get a few single game weekers and stuff, I'll do it. But I'm definitely unlikely to wait as late as 35 just because I want to bench boost in 36. Because what is going to happen, right? After now game week 30, when they have that round of the FA Cup, it'll be a very much more clear in terms of when the doubles are going to fall, which teams are going to have doubles, which teams are not going to have doubles. So, and I think in 31, you'll be able to build a more or less structured wildcard for the doubles that are to come. And you'll be able to get rid of the guys you got in this week, because I don't really want Jimenez beyond 30. I don't want the Wolves defense beyond 30. Arsenal attack, they're not really a very attacking team as such. Up beyond 31, I don't necessarily want that. I don't want Villa, things like that. So after 30, I'll have a clear picture in terms of which teams are going to blank and double, etc., from 31 to 38. And I think that's when I'll probably wildcard.
Yeah, and that's the advantage you'll get over the people reacting right now, for sure. I guess in order to cope with that, if you don't have a wild card, we might just have to use be a little bit more liberal using our free transfers and almost preempt. Yep. I mean, bringing in Leicester, who are likely to have a lot of double game weeks after game week 30, who also happen to play in 30, might not be a bad idea. And then after, the FA Cup 5th round, we know the teams to start bringing in, because you know that they're going to have a double game week in 33 and potentially 36. So
Mark Southern just posted his team. Would you like to know his wildcard team?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
It's Ramsdale in goal. He's gone for a back four with Trent, Robertson, Tierney, and Semedo. So he's gone with the fullbacks rather than your size and White or Gabriel and stuff like that. He's kept Bowen, which is interesting. I thought as a single game week player. Son, Saka, Salah, Broha, and Jimenez up top. On his bench, he's actually benched his second Wolves defender, Kilman. He's benched Coutinho. And he still got Saint Maximin in his team. I don't think he got the news.
Oh, no. Oh, dear. That's terrible. I thought Saint Maximin was an excellent shout because of his double-double in 28, 29.
Yes,
but
definitely.
that's unfortunate if he hasn't had time. Because I only found out because someone tagged me in the post.
Yeah, it's pretty much, we have very reliable sources that's been saying that it's all over. Ben Dinnery quoted it, as well as several others.
Oh, goodness me. Yeah.
One of my WhatsApp groups is saying there are rumors of these are completely rumors at this stage of Robertson on the bench today. But like we said, it's nothing to worry about this week. It's still a better pick. If you're going to go double Liverpool defense, you have to get the guys with the upside.
Interesting. Maybe I should have. Andy's gone.
Don't worry about it. There's no right. Would have, could have, should have. You did the best thing you did. Good with the information at the time.
Yeah, I don't regret Robertson. I think if he plays.
No, we discussed it. I think if you miss out the one fixture, it's fine. He gets one assist over Van Dijk or whatever. He makes that up in the next fixture, etc. The good thing is, right, the next double for Liverpool being tougher actually means less rotation. Brighton away, Arsenal away. Those are tough games. So that week you probably will see your Robertson Trent double up work again.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'd suspect that Robertson plays 90% of games. Tsimikas gets a limited. I mean, Tsimikas has only played when Robertson's been injured. Really, he only got 2 games in a row.
No, I don't think so.
Is that not true?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think like he played. There was one odd game I remember he did get rotated.
Okay, interesting. Andy,
one, but not more than that. It's not significant.
Andy, Let's Talk FPL, very similar team to me, but went Sarr and Dubravka and then had Tierney in defence rather than Ramsdale and Dubravka and Cody in defence. And I kind of prefer his to a certain extent.
See, the thing is, though, I like Ramsdale a lot as an option, right? Because he's just so ridiculous. Because let's say Arsenal get 2 clean sheets. Would it surprise you to see Ramsdale on 20 points? No.
True, and it does mean he has to play 2 Wolves defenders against Leicester and Arsenal, which you're not really hedging.
Ramsdale is by far, in my opinion, the best goalkeeper option this year.
Agreed. I think I agreed. I think he's arguably the best Arsenal option this week. So
that's also true.
Okay, I'm not too unhappy. That's fine. We're going to get a lot of people having slightly different teams, and you're wondering, wow, whether I should have done that or whatever. But I think, it's more or less fine, isn't it? Ted, can you advise on Saint Maximin, please? It's a little bit late now, but apparently, we were saying this in the deadline stream beforehand, but apparently he's out for 2 to 3 weeks. Not sure whether that's confirmed. A Newcastle journalist just tweeted it, so it's unfortunate if he is out because he would be an excellent double game week asset in 28 and 29. So, yeah, I'm absolutely drained, Zoff. 10 past 11, and I need to go and have a lie down. I think we'll leave it there, bud. You said you were hungry, so I'll let you go. But thank you very much for joining me and soothing me through my wildcard woes. And hopefully we were just the slightest bit helpful in the chat. We didn't answer too many questions, but hopefully provided you at least some entertainment in advance of the double game week deadline.
Of course.
Absolutely worth it. Right, on that terrible, terrible bombshell, it's time to go. Thank you for joining us all, and best of luck for Game Week 26.
Pleasure, guys. Thank you for having me on.